Welcome. We have been expecting you.
Good evening, SmorgShowers. Welcome to episode 129. Recorded October 2021. We bring to you one of our most cherished traditions at the SmorgShow Podcast. We call it Spookfest. This is Spookfest 2021, and I will be your host, Chris. And that's it, actually. I am by myself this week. I am down in an undisclosed location of the SmorgShow lair. And there's no Jerry. There's no Dave. There's no Allie. It's just me. So for the next 30, 40 minutes, just sit back and enjoy the ride. Yes, this is the SmorgShow Podcast, smorgasbord radio show, and we have done this for many years. It's actually been several years since we've done a Spookfest, I think. I think we've done Campfire Smorgs. I think we did one last year. You have to go back several years to go back to our last Spookfest when Allie was here. For those of you listening to us for the first time, this is the Smorgasbord Radio Show. It's a variety show. We call it the Smorgasbord for a variety of reasons, primarily because it's a variety show. But Allie is my daughter. She was my partner for the first, 90, 100 episodes. And then, of course, she grew up, moved out, got married last month, and I've been doing the show with my old high school radio partners, Dave Jackson, Jerry Malauskis. But today, I decided this was a spontaneous moment where I said, let's just put this out, okay? So here we are. So what I'd like to do is start the show with a dramatic reading. Now, this is we like to dig into the vault into some of our stories that we have collected over the years. And this one is by one of our favorite writers of short stories, spooky short stories, S.E. Schlosser. This first story is called Haunted Sachs Bridge. I don't know what exactly draws me back to Sachs Bridge each time I visit Gettysburg. I just know that I feel compelled to drive there and take pictures. Of course, it's a beautiful spot, a covered bridge that was used by the Confederate Army to cross the creek when they withdrew from Gettysburg. But after all, how many pictures can you take of the same place? Well, okay, if you're a photographer, that's a silly question. Hundreds, in all weather, season, lighting, but really, I'm only an amateur. So why I personally felt compelled to record the bridge over and over was a mystery my wife was obsessing about as she drove through the darkening countryside one evening in the late fall. Of course, the bridge was supposed to be haunted, so that was definitely part of the draw it had for me. According to the legend, 3 Confederate soldiers convicted of being spies were hanged from beams in the covered bridge, and their bodies were discovered by Union soldiers patrolling the area. Their spirits were said to haunt the bridge, though other folks claim they sometimes smelled General Lee smoking his pipe when they were standing on the bridge. I actually smelled pipe smoke there once myself, and that was one of the reasons I kept coming back to the haunted bridge. As we came to the bridge, a chill blasted over my skin in spite of the warmth flowing into the car from the heater. The bridge, usually a friendly spot, seemed sinister and dark. I felt uneasy, as if a foul presence was on the bridge that did not want us to intrude there. I changed my mind, I said quickly as my wife stopped the car. I don't want to take pictures here after all. What? my wife practically screeched, staring at me in amazement. "After you made such a big fuss about it? After you forced me to look at every single solitary picture you ever took of this bridge before we came to Gettysburg? No way, honey. I could be back at the hotel drinking beer right now, but no. We had to come to the bridge. Get out there and take your photos." She was right, I guess. Silly to come all the way and not to take pictures. But I was utterly terrified to step out into the bridge. My hand shook as I reached for the door handle, and shook again as I secured my camera, praying with all my might that whatever dark power was out there would leave me alone. I leapt out the door and aimed my camera practically at random down the length of the bridge. It was completely empty of everything but me and the car as I took several snapshots. But I could feel someone, a very nasty someone, standing right behind me, willing me to leave or die. Their presence throbbed at me in an almost physical way, and my skin crawled desperately. I didn't dare turn around. I couldn't. I just whirled my camera around, aimed it over my shoulder, and snapped a picture, fast. Then I leapt back into the car before whoever or whatever decided to grab me, and gasped, "Get me out of here now." My wife took one look at my white face filled with eye-popping terror and got me out of there. I didn't stop shaking until we were safely back in our hotel room for the night. When I loaded up the digital pictures on my laptop computer the next morning, I went immediately to the pictures of the Sachs Bridge, unsure of what I would see. In the first photo, a little boy in a period costume stood at arm's length away from the camera. He was glaring at me with a twisted little face and an evil grin. He certainly hadn't been there when I took the picture, yet he looked solid enough to be real. The second photo was filled with misty figures that looked like phantoms. Very creepy. I shuddered as I looked at them and quickly went to the next photo, the one I took over my shoulder without turning around. I gave a shriek of fear, which brought my wife crashing into the room. "What is it?" she shouted, and I pointed a shaking finger at the screen of the laptop. Pictured on it was a filmy, dark figure, half human, half beast, with blazing orange eyes filled with such menace and hatred that it made my stomach roil. He appeared so close to the camera that he must have been directly behind me, and he looked like the devil. My wife's eyes popped open and gasped, "Delete it! Delete it now!" Yet how could I delete it? I had captured pictures of ghosts on my camera. Was it worth the fright I had had? I wasn't sure about that. Still, I couldn't delete them. My wife refused blankly to look at the photos more than once, and she swore never to take me to Sachs Bridge again. But I may go back there someday.
I got 5 pieces of candy. I got a chocolate bar. I got a quarter. I got a rock. Trick or treat! Gee, I got a candy bar. Boy, I got 3 cookies. Hey, I got a package of gum. I got a rock. Trick or treat! I got a popcorn ball. I got a fudge bar. I got a pack of gum. I got a rock.
All right, we will now go to our international news correspondent, Baba Gonesh, who has a story, breaking news from Delhi, India. And we will be back with more chills and thrills on Spookfest 21. This is the SmorgShow Podcast.
This is Baba Gonesh with breaking Baba news. Monkey kills man with brick in Delhi, India. A monkey in India went absolutely ape, killing a man by throwing a brick at him. The random attack took place in central Delhi's Nabikaram, reported the Indian Express. Mohammed Kurban, age 30, sold bags at a shop in the area and was on his way to buy materials when he was hit by a brick. The brick was thrown by a monkey from the second floor of a nearby building, officials detailed. Kurban sustained a severe injury and collapsed to the ground. He was then rushed to a local hospital where he was declared dead. During their investigation, police discovered the brick belonged to a homeowner who kept 2 stones on top of his water tank to stop monkeys from opening it. Cops discovered a group of monkeys had removed both bricks. One was tossed aside nearby, the other was hurled off the building and hit the victim. Kurban is survived by his wife and 5-year-old child. Be careful out there, the monkeys are back. This has been Baba News, and this is Breaking Baba News with your friend and host, Baba Gonesh.
You're listening to the SmorgShow Podcast.
I am the one that rides the horse.
Who's the boogie? The boogeyman.
From corner to corner I roam the earth.
Who's the boogie? The boogeyman.
Don't let me catch you all by yourself.
Who's the boogie? The boogeyman.
You'll disappear like all the rest.
Who's the boogie? The boogeyman.
I am the noise that woke you up.
Who's the boogie? The boogeyman.
It's my whispers that you heard.
Who's the boogie? The boogeyman.
I am the shadow on your wall.
Who's the boogie? The boogeyman.
I am the creepy crawling night. I'm the boogie. The Take off your skin.
Shake the bones.
I am the thing living under your bed.
Who's the boogie? The boogeyman.
Just ask your cat, he's seen the dead.
Who's the boogie? The boogeyman.
Oh, evil creatures of the night.
Who's the boogie? The boogeyman.
I am the key to all your fright.
Who's the boogie? The boogeyman.
I'm the boogie.
The Boogeyman Jam on the SmorgShow Podcast. We are back. And it is time to bring back another feature from the past.
New Artist of the Week.
Hey, it's Timmy! Timmy, my man. I wonder what Timmy's up to these days. That was about 11 years ago, so Timmy has certainly grown. Timmy used to announce our New Artist of the Week feature. So every week we would pick, we would have a vault of submitted music to our listener feedback hotline, our email address, and we would pick a new artist. And that's how we got to become good friends with Jordan Martin out of the UK and a couple of other artists along the way. And it was a good way to discover new music, and we could play their music because they either gave us permission or it was pod-safe music, so we didn't have to pay royalties. So it was that sort of thing. But after many years, we got an email over the weekend in the Smorg Show listener feedback email, which is feedback@smorgshowpodcast.com. And the artist's name, and I hope I'm pronouncing it right, Dominic Dema, D-E-M-A. He's not actually, it's not really a band or a performer, but he is a songwriter, and he has a partner named Liam Thomas, who also composes, and he's the singer on the track that I'm going to play here. The song is called Afraid, which I think is very appropriate for this episode because we're talking about the chills of Halloween, even though the song itself has nothing to do with horror situation or anything like that. This is more about, first of all, this is from a review. A music blog writer had this to say about the song. The track injects a feel-good folksy vibe into its indie rock sound that feels incredibly warm and welcoming. Rich vocals and acoustic guitar combine for a meaningful reflection on the overwhelming sense of fear that comes from self-doubt. The lyrics for Afraid are simple yet meaningful as they openly question why we let negative thoughts and fears hold us back. This one is for fans of the genre who are looking for an honest yet uplifting reflection of relatable struggles. The blogger is Sherry Hirsch. So the song is about vulnerability. It's about finding the strength to face our fears. It's about admitting sometimes that we're afraid and need help. It's an anthem for the downtrodden and broken. Together we can heal. So without further ado, we're going to play the song Afraid, and we'll be back shortly on the Smorg Show Podcast.
It's a new day. Why am I so afraid? What if I told you I'm to blame? What if I told you that I'm afraid? Another sunrise brings tears to my eyes, fear of what's to come. While I'm coming undone, all I need's a moment to see what's ahead. Maybe all my worries can be laid to rest. It's a new day. Why am I so afraid to face my fears head on and not let it go to waste? Will I ever be good enough? Is it too late to be saved? What if I told you I'm not okay? What if I told you that I'm afraid? Here comes the dusk, darkness that I trust, seeping through my skin, and all that lies within, and all I need's a light to guide me I'm too tired to fight. I just wanna give in. It's a new day. Why am I so afraid to face my fears head on and not let it go to waste? Will I ever be good enough? Is it too late to be saved? What if I told you I'm not okay? What if I told you that I'm afraid? Time after time, I'm right back here, barreling down a road I can't steer. 100 miles an hour, life's moving fast. I wish this would stop, I hope it doesn't last. It's a new day. Why am I so afraid to face my fears head on and not let it go to waste? Will I ever be good enough? Is it too late to be saved? What if I told you I'm to blame? What if I told you I'm afraid? What if I told you I'm not okay? What if I told you that I'm afraid?
Dominic Dima, Afraid. That is fantastic. I was really jamming out here in the studio to that. That's was fantastic. You can find more of Dominic's music on all of the music platforms of your preference. Spotify, Apple Music, whatever. Amazon, Pandora, iHeartRadio, you name it. He's all over. Dominic Dima. Look it up. He wrote those lyrics, and he did some of the music arrangement as well. So thanks, Dominic, for sending that in. We really appreciate it. And now we're back for the second segment of Spookfest 21.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Philip.
Philip who?
Fill up my belly with candy till I pop.
That one never gets old. This next story is called No Trespassing. Peggy and her boyfriend Tommy were driving down a lonely stretch of highway at dusk when a thunderstorm came crashing down on them. Tommy slowed the car and they crept their way past a formidable abandoned house. Plastered all over the fences and trees were no trespassing signs. A mile past the house, the car hydroplaned. Peggy screamed as the car slid off the road, plunging down into a gully. The car slammed into a large boulder, throwing Peggy violently into the door before it came to a rest under a pecan tree. Her head banged against the window, and a stabbing pain shot through her shoulder and arm. Tommy turned to her. "Are you all right? You're bleeding." "Arm, shoulder, feel bad," Peggy managed to gasp. Tommy glanced cautiously at her right arm. "I think your arm is broken," he said, and he tore a strip off his shirt and pressed it to the cutter on her head. "I'm going to call for help," he said when it became obvious that the bleeding was not going to stop right away. But neither of them had their cell phones. "That house we just passed will have a phone I can use," Tommy said. Peggy's eyes popped wide open at this statement. Despite her pain, she remembered the creepy abandoned house. "Stay here. A car will come." "I can't stay, Peggy," Tommy said. "It could take hours for another car to come, and you're losing too much blood." He tore another strip of his shirt and placed it gently on the cut of her head. Then he went out and retrieved a couple of blankets from the trunk to cover her with. "I'll be back as soon as I can." He raced out into the storm, shutting the dented car door behind him. Peggy drifted in a kind of daze. Something at the back of her mind was making her uneasy. She slid down onto the floor and put her head on the seat, completely covering herself with the blankets, head and all. Feeling safer, she allowed the weariness caused by the wounds to take over and fell asleep. Peggy wasn't sure what woke her. Had a beam of light shone briefly through the blanket? Did she hear somebody curse outside? She strained eyes and ears but heard nothing except the soft thudding of the rain, and no light shone through the blanket now. If Tommy had arrived with the rescue squad, there surely would be noise and light and many voices. But she heard nothing except swish of the rain and occasional thumping noise which she put down to the rubbing of the branches of the pecan tree in the wind. The sound should have been comforting, but it was not. Goosebumps crawled across her arms, even the broken one, and she almost ceased breathing for some time as some deep part of her inner mind instructed her to freeze and not make a sound. She didn't know how long fear kept her immobile, but suddenly the raw terror ceased, replaced by cold shivers of apprehension and a slick coil in her stomach that had nothing to do with her injuries. Something terrible had happened, she thought wearily, fear adding yet more fatigue to her already wounded body. Then she scolded herself for a ninny. It was just her sore head making her imagine things. Somewhat comforted by this thought, she dozed again, only vaguely aware of a new sound that had not been there before. A soft thud-thud sound, as of something gently tapping the roof. Thud-thud. Pattering of the rain. Thud-thud. Silence. Sometimes she would almost waken and listen to it in a puzzled manner. Thud-thud. Patter of rain. Thud-thud. Had a branch dislodged from the tree? Peggy wasn't sure how long she'd been unconscious when she was awakened by a bright light blazing through the window of the car and the sound of male voices exclaiming in horror. A door was wrenched open, and someone crawled inside. She lifted her head and looked up at a young state policeman. "Miss, are you all right?" he asked, and then turned over his shoulder to call for help. Peggy told the officers her story and begged them to look for Tommy. They deftly avoided answering her and instead called the paramedics. As the paramedics carried her carefully up the slope of the incline, Peggy looked back at the car and saw a grotesque figure hanging from a branch of the pecan tree. For a moment, her brain couldn't decipher what she was seeing in the bright lights of the police car parked at the side of the road. Then she heard a thud-thud sound as the foot of the figure scraped the top of the totaled car. She started screaming over and over in horror. One of the police officers hastened to block her view, and a paramedic fumbled for some Valium to give her as her mind finally registered what she had seen. Tommy's mangled dead body was hanging from the pecan tree just above the car, and nailed to the center of his chest was a no trespassing sign. The story is called Where's My Liver? Go straight to the store and don't fool around, his mother said sternly as she handed over the money. Your father's boss is coming to dinner tonight, and we're having his favorite meal of liver and onions. It's important that we make a good impression, so get the best liver they've got. I will, Ma, Tommy sulked. His mother had really been after him since he brought home a failing report card. Tommy grabbed his bicycle from the garage and rode down the street. Then he saw his friend Chad. "Come on, Tommy," Chad called. "The gang's playing baseball over at the park, and we need a pitcher." Immediately, all thoughts of his errand fled from Tommy's mind. The boys headed towards the park. Tommy pitched a no-hitter to win the game for his team, but by the time it was over, it was dark. Then Tommy remembered his errand. "The liver," he gasped. "I've got to go to the store." But all the local groceries were closed. "My mom is going to kill me," he gasped. First the bad report card, and now this. He would be grounded for life. As he rode home past the cemetery, he got an idea. It was an awful idea, but it would save him from even more awful fate that awaited him if he came home without a liver. His great-uncle had died a few days ago and had been buried in the cemetery. What harm would it do to remove it? His uncle certainly didn't need it anymore. Tommy hurried home as silently as he could and got his father's shovel. He returned to the cemetery and began digging up his great-uncle's grave. That night, his mother cooked up the liver and onions, and the boss raved about the meal and had such a good time that he didn't leave until quite late. Tommy went to bed that night relieved that he had gotten away with it. He fell asleep almost as soon as his head hit the pillow, but woke with a start soon after, sure that he had heard a voice.
Where's my liver?
A ghostly voice rose up from the staircase, deep and guttural. Tommy gasped in fear and flung himself under the covers as the thud of heavy footsteps reached the top of the steps. Thump, thump, thump. The footsteps grew nearer until they reached Tommy's door.
Who's got my liver?
The horrible voice asked again. "Go away! Go away!" Tommy whispered repeatedly. His whole body trembled in terror as once more the voice asked,
Where's my liver? Who's got my liver?
Sheer terror made him silently bold. Tommy threw back the covers and found the shriveled white face of his great-uncle right above him. "We ate your liver," he shouted.
I know you did, Tommy.
The rotting corpse of his great-uncle said softly, stretching out his bony hands toward the boy's shaking body. Tommy screamed. The next morning, Tommy's parents discovered their son lying dead on top of his bed. His liver had been ripped out of his body, but the autopsy proved that the boy had already died of fright before his liver was removed. Wow. That was creepy. That story was from the vault from one of our very first Spookfests. And I thought I would bring that out. Well, we're moving quite quickly along in the episode here. And normally, as you know, the last year or so, we've been finishing the show with a, 15, 20-minute segment with Jerome Malauskis, our CCC, Chief Conspiracy Correspondent. And we would talk about all the latest news, and he would opine about what he thought was really going on. And, well, we don't have Jerry in the studio here, but here's something that I know he would comment on, all the talks about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. And I thought I would play this to give you a little bit better explanation, because I know there's a lot of questions out there about what Bitcoin is and what's the rave about it. So let's finish the show up with this. This has nothing to do with Halloween, but it does fit in with the Smorg Show format, though.
Well, you know where I put my money?
Where?
Bitcoin.
What's Bitcoin?
Bitcoin is the first decentralized digital cryptocurrency that works without a central bank.
Well, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, and it's so simple to use. Transactions take place through the use of cryptography and are verified by network nodes and recorded in an immutable public distributed ledger called a blockchain. What could be simpler than that?
Nothing. It sounds great.
Right. So is it like investing in stocks?
Kind of, but not at all.
Well, I'm on board.
Really? Because I have so many more questions.
Not me.
Where can I get one of these Bitcoins? Can I buy one at my local bank?
Of course not. What a dumb question.
Thought it was valid.
No, it was dumb.
Bitcoins aren't like regular currency. They're mined.
In a physical mine, like gold?
That's ridiculous. Bitcoins are mined on computers using the SHA-256 hashing algorithm, creating 12.5 Bitcoins per block. That is until mid-2020. And then afterwards, 6.25 Bitcoins per block for 4 years until the next halving.
Wait, are we still talking about money?
Cryptocurrency.
This sounds so simple.
Shut up, Margaret. There's no way you understood all of that.
Okay.
So, how much do one of these Bitcoins cost?
$17,000.
$17,000? That's insane.
Sounds like a bargain.
Ugh. And how do you keep track of these things' values?
Just check the internet. So far today, its value has gone up $1,000. Oh, and now it's down $800, and now it's up $500.
Sounds like you can't lose.
You absolutely can, Margaret.
How do I buy Bitcoins?
It's easy. Just go online and give them your credit card number.
Give who your credit card number?
Bitcoin. And then let the internet do what it does.
What does it do exactly?
It Bitcoins.
Here's my credit card.
No! So who started Bitcoin?
We think it was Satoshi Nakamoto.
Who is that?
No one really knows.
He sounds cute.
Margaret, I swear to God.
And Bitcoin is the only cryptocurrency I trust with my kids' college fund.
That's smart investing.
That's bat crazy.
Oh, now it's down to $3. Easy come, easy go.
This message brought to you by the stock market. Gamble with your retirement the old-fashioned way.
Well, I don't know. Makes a lot of sense to me now, doesn't it? Well, I think we're going to wrap this up now. This was just a bonus episode, really. Not really anything, no really thought really went into this one. Just wanted to put it out there. Have a very safe and happy Halloween this weekend. Just have fun. And we will be back again very soon. Working on getting Dave Jackson back out here to do a Chris and Dave show, just like the old days. And we still have that episode with my wife and daughter where we have to recap sort of our memories from her wedding last month. That will be coming soon, and the year is closing out quickly. I can't believe it. But anyway, thanks for listening. Our number is 312-95-SMORG. Email address, feedback@smorgshowpodcast.com. And you can find us on all the various social media platforms. Just look for Smorg Show. I'm Chris, and thank you for joining us. Happy Halloween.